What's going on, everybody? This is Brendan with Neuway Media, back again for another video, and today we're going to be talking all about Aputure lights. You've probably heard of the brand Aputure. They've been growing increasingly popular over the last few years. Now they're at a point where they're very mainstream lights. You see tons of people using them all over Instagram. You see these lights, and especially over the last year or so, I've seen trends of these types of lights even making their way onto larger budget sets and more studio level type of productions. So I wanted to break down the Aputure 120D in this video, do a little bit of a review on it, and sort of talk about why I think Aputure has grown so much in popularity over the last few years. So Aputure is an LED lighting company that was founded in 2008, which is 13 years ago. Kind of crazy to think about. And for many years, Aputure was sort of considered an indie brand, right? Pretty cheap lights that most indie filmmakers can get that are pretty high in quality and that will get the job done and that will work pretty well for you. Since then, I would say in the last 2 or 3 years especially, the more of their products come out, the better the quality of the products get and the more recognized and the more respect that they're getting in the industry. And that's also making them a lot more popular. There's a couple of main reasons for that I wanted to break down first, and then we'll talk specifically about the 120D. I also want to talk a little bit about in this video the Aputure Nova and the 600D as well, because those are also Aputure lights I have a bit of experience with. So what are some of the main reasons that these lights are so adored and why so many people own these lights and use them on a daily basis, whether that be content creators on YouTube or indie filmmakers or high budget level filmmakers? Well, first of all, they're very versatile lights, and this type of form factor of a light, especially when it comes to like LED point source lighting, this type of form factor is really common. You see it everywhere. There's lots of different brands of cheap lights that you can get that are in this form factor that have point source LED diodes in the front of them and a universal Bowens mount on the front right here. So this is a Bowens mount, and you see this on constant lighting as well as flash photography lights, very, very common. And what that allows you to do is modify the light to do basically anything you want very easily with a universal mount. So you can buy Aputure branded attachments, modifiers, or any other brand modifier. That's, as long as it's a Bowen mount, it will work with this. So for instance, what I just had on there, this is just a little parabolic reflector dish, Aputure branded, and it literally just pops on the front and you twist it and it locks in. It has a little button on the side here that you pull to release the lock and take it out. Some of the other modifiers that they make for this are a Fresnel attachment, a Lico attachment, a standard barn door attachment, as well as multiple sized softbox attachments as well. They even make sort of like a China ball lantern type of attachment, and even like a space light type of attachment, which is sort of a big cylindrical shaped softbox as well, which is very useful for lighting cyc walls or green screens, for instance. So basically any type of lighting modifier under the sun that you can think of, Aputure makes, or you can get aftermarket to attach to a Bowens mount, makes it very versatile. So what's really good about having a point source versus something like a LED panel or a tube light, for instance, like an Astera or a Quasar, or something like a light mat, which is a very thin form factor and a big soft source. Well, what's great about it is a point source can always be made softer. So you can make it a big soft source, like a panel, for instance. But a panel can't really be made into a point source. So this is more versatile in that regard. But in order to make this a big soft source, it does increase your form factor, whether you need a big softbox on the front of it and the width of the light front to back gets very large. Whereas if you have something like a light mat, you know, it's super, super thin and lightweight and everything. So you can attach it on the C-stand like this, but it basically takes up no room. You can squeeze it into a corner. You can tape it onto a wall. You can fit it on the ceiling very, very easily. So something like that, form factor wise, is a little easier, but you can still achieve the same quality of light with something like this. So that's really, really cool, and that's what makes it super versatile. So this, in this nice little soft case, is the Fresnel, and it has a spot flood function. So it's pretty beefy. You wouldn't expect it to be so big, but this attaches to the front, same way. Cool. And then you just twist it for spot or flood. when you're in spot mode on the Fresnel, that actually increases your intensity too, because you're basically taking all the intensity from that wider beam and narrowing it down and focusing it. And so the beam is smaller, but the intensity is brighter. So that allows you to get even more intensity, even more brightness output if you don't need the spread to be so wide. So for instance, the Aputure 600D is closer to like an 800 watt HMI. With the Fresnel attachment, it's actually closer to like a 1200 watt HMI. So for 600 watts, you get about 1200 watts worth of equivalent output. So that's kind of how you can think of it if you're used to using HMIs or tungsten lights or something like that. And that's really useful because you get way more output for less wattage, and also they don't get quite as hot as Fresnels or HMIs do. Even the barn door attachment is also really high quality, higher than I expected. It doesn't squeak when you open it, you know? It closes completely flat, which is really nice. It doesn't like have any part of it that like is still bent up, which is really annoying about some barn doors. The inside of the barn doors, I don't know if you can see here, the inside of them are lined in felt, which sort of catches dust and keeps dust out of the actual front of your LED. And they also come with a 30-degree grid on the front to help control the spill. So if you want to have the barn door on, but you don't want it spilling everywhere, the 30-degree grid is really nice. I believe you can get other sized grids for it as well. And of course, you can just completely take the grid out if you do want it to just be open-faced. But that's like the grid and the felt lining and just the really nice non-squeaking, flat closing doors are just, you know, it just makes it feel like really high quality build. And this mounts directly to the front of the little parabolic reflector here, just like so. You just get the bottom lip in, and then it kind of clips. And now it's mounted to that, and then you just put this on the front of the bones mount of the light. So this right here, hanging from my C-stand, is the ballast, so I can turn the light on by pressing the power button here. And that makes it really bright, of course. That's flaring my lens. Let me attach the Fresnel to this so it doesn't flare so hard and I can leave the light on. I can also, I'll spot that out. That makes it better. I'll also dim it down. That was at 100%. We'll just dim it down to 50 something. So that is the ballast right here with a power button and a dimming knob and some other buttons on here to change features. What's really nice about this, Aputure has full DMX capability and Wi-Fi capability, so you can actually attach this light or connect this light to an app on your phone, and you can actually wirelessly control the power output and the different settings of this light. And if you have all of your lights on set as Aputure lights, whether that be an Aputure Nova or a 600D or a 300D or whatever, they can all be connected to the same Wi-Fi on your app, and you can actually control them all simultaneously. So if you have this rigged on a ceiling or it's high up on a stand and you don't have to lower the stand to reach the ballast or something like that, or you don't want to have to like walk off set to get to the ballast, it's awesome to be able to pull out your phone and adjust that on the fly really quickly. So having that is a pretty high-end feature, and it's really nice to have. Some of the other high-end features that this has is some customizable effects built in. So this is only a daylight light. That's what the D in the 120D, 300D, 600D stands for. It's only daylight, so you're not gonna get like tungsten or anything like that, or RGB or anything like that, but you still have different effects. So this first button on the left here, if I press and hold it, then it brings up the effects menu. This is the lightning effect. So as you can see, there's like a lightning flash. I can change the intensity of that flash and the frequency, how often that flash. Then I can go to TV setting, paparazzi feature. So this is sort of paparazzi light bulb flashes. This is the fireworks function, which is again, just another different type of flash, and a faulty bulb function as well, which is pretty cool. So it has effects, features built in, it has the DMX and Wi-Fi capability. And another reason that it's so nice is on this ballast, you can actually have a V-mount battery. So you can actually run this battery powered as well. So even more versatile if you're on the go and you don't have any outlets, or say you're inside a car or you're outside on the street somewhere where you can't plug the light in, you can still run it off of a battery, which is really nice. That's basically my review of the Aputure 120D and sort of my breakdown of why I think LED lights in general are really cool, why point source lights specifically are so versatile, and all the different features and reasons that make Aputure such a great brand, and why I've been really enjoying using the 120D, and as well as, like I said, the Nova, which is their sort of sky panel equivalent panel, which allows you to do all the different RGB colors that the daylight balance lights don't let you do. And also the 600D gives you that high output and gives you that sort of like Joker 800 or 1200 watt HMI kind of level of output, which is pretty dope. And you can even have that battery powered too. It's great. I love it. I don't want this review to sound too much like I'm trying to sell it to you. We're not sponsored by Aputure. We're not paid by Aputure in any way to make this video. I just feel like as a creator, I want to be showing you guys all the gear that I use and that I enjoy. And when I get something new and I really like it and it's very useful to me, I want to share it with you all and spread the love. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you have any more questions about Aputure or LED lighting in general, or non-LED lighting in general, be sure to leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Catch you later.